Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's live show in Journey to Lasting Love. As I hope you know by now, or for those of you that are new, I am Tina Shayani. I am the founder of this group and the lead coach at Shay Coaching, where we help people attract and build lasting, loving relationships. It's another beautiful sunny day here in New York. It's supposed to reach the 60s, which I'm very excited about. I love the sunshine and you can see it flowing in through my window. Good morning, Jean. Nice to have you here. So the sunshine really makes me happy, and it's already mid-February, so we are, I think, over the hump of winter. Good morning, Grace. So nice to see you here. So this week's Good Morning Melody, this week's topic is, we're going to talk about optimism, but something has happened with me that I've been toying with the idea of good morning, Jackie, nice to see you here. I've been toying with the idea of bringing it into the group because it's so highly personal and unfortunately painful. So here we go, and then it's going to bring us back to our topic of optimism. So I have a very, very, very dear friend. I want to say one of my dearest friends that I've ever had. 10 weeks ago, she was in an accident in which her 4-month-old baby, drowned. And as just about any mother would do, she jumped in to save her baby. She was unsuccessful in saving that baby, and she drowned herself. She spent 9 weeks in a coma, and she was hovering between life and death, and last week she left us. So it was a very, very, and she leaves behind, ready for this, 12 children, and the most amazing man I have ever met in my life. So how does this is really a story like you can't make this shit up. How does the most wonderful, loving, kind, welcoming person go through something so horrible? And it leads to the question, so many questions. But in the 9 weeks that she was hovering between life and death, and she was peaceful, I would go see her and basically she was sleeping. Sorry. So in the 9 weeks that she was hovering, I spent a lot of time talking with her family and her mother and her oldest child and her brothers, and we were very optimistic. We made plans. We said we're going to celebrate her birthday and all of these things that we were going to do when she came back to us. And ultimately, all of us suffered a huge blow, and it was such a painful blow because we lost really like the most precious jewel that we've ever had. And what could have been our alternative to the optimism? We were bitterly disappointed and hurt, but what would have been the alternative to our optimism? We could have early on said, listen, she went through what she went through, she was resuscitated, what are the odds? And we could have said, you know what, all is lost, and we could have thrown ourselves into the pit of despair 9 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, whatever it was. But we chose optimism. We chose optimism, and we prayed for a miracle. and we cheered each other up. When one of us was down, we would be there to lift the other one up. I was at her bedside one day, and another friend came to visit, and she was singing songs, and there was such a somber mood. So I started to play the optimism card. I said, she's going to wake up and she's going to tell you, stop singing songs to me, stop talking to me, leave me alone, you're driving me crazy. So we kind of made light, and we made plans for her birthday and what we're going to do when she gets well. And in that moment, we felt better because we had hope to hold on to. And when she passed, of course, we were bitterly disappointed, but we were going to be bitterly disappointed anyway. Having dragged out the pain over the time that she was ill wouldn't have softened the blow. It still would have hurt as much, but we would have hurt so much more along the way. So this was, sorry. The optimism was our way of cushioning the blow, of making it a little bit softer, of padding it ever so slightly. And now we're in a position that we, of course, had to let go of the hope and optimism. But now we are hurting, but we would have been hurting anyway. And here is Penny for the last week since my friend passed away. She will not get off of me. She is constantly on me more than ever before. So let's put her down here because I think she knows that I'm sad. But again, it's not about the sadness, but it's about the hope. When you can live in a place of hope, it makes the difficult circumstance even a little bit better. It makes that difficult circumstance bearable. It makes it something that you can live with. And when the tragedy does come, then you deal with it. But why anticipate the tragedy is the point. Oh, I don't think I'm getting rid of this doggy. So the point is that while we were in that place of in between, we chose to be optimistic. And not only was it my choice, it was the choice of her entire family, of her mother, her brothers, her sisters, her incredible husband, a man that really he lost more than a wife, more than he lost so much. But it helped, the optimism helped to soften the blow. And how can we, good morning, Alina. So how can we bring this into our regular, non-tragic life? The tragedies and the extremes, something like this, I couldn't make this story up. No one could make this story up. It's just terrible. But thank God, in our everyday lives, we don't have these tragedies. We have regular problems, things that we can overcome, things that may very well go our way. We're not looking for the impossible. We're not looking for a miracle. We're looking for small miracles, doable miracles, miracles that happen every day. So how can we apply this to our own lives? Let's bring it back to the topic at hand here. So our thing is that we are in a place that we are looking to attract and build loving, lasting relationships. So how can we apply it to this? So many people that I talk to, they will be in a not so stellar relationship that they don't want to let go of because they think, they tell me, what if I never find somebody else? But I want to say, what if you do? Don't you want to have that optimism that you will find somebody else, and to give yourself the opportunity to be open to the possibility of things going well. What if you are open to the possibility of finding a real and true love? No matter what point you are in your life, we have a choice to make here, especially being the day after Valentine's. What a gross and commercial holiday, but that's a whole other discussion we'll get to later on. But what if we can say, we have a choice and we can say, oh my God, I'm never going to find someone. I'm never going to be in a good relationship. Everyone I meet is going to be a disaster. This is one option, and this is what we could have done. We could have said, there is no hope, forget it, let's just lay in the pit of despair. So that is one option, to say, I'm going to be in this, I'm never going to find anyone, and I'll just settle for this guy just because he likes me. So that is one option. Or we can look forward with hope and optimism, and we can say, wow, I'm in a position in my life that I have the opportunity to fall in love. I have this great and wonderful thing to look forward to. I am looking forward to meeting this amazing man that I'm going to build a life with. This is what I have to look forward to. And yes, along the line, we may suffer great disappointments. But doesn't it feel better when you're moving along to have that hope? And when you say the words, I have the opportunity to fall in love. I can look forward to falling in love. I can look forward to meeting the man of my dreams. Just saying the words feels so good, as opposed to the opposite, the doom and gloom. We can always anticipate the worst, but it doesn't help when the worst happens. When and if, God forbid, the worst case scenario happens, we can never be prepared for that. So why be miserable in the meantime? Let's be hopeful in the meantime. Let's find as much joy as we can along the journey. Even with my the scenario with my friend, as awful as it was, in our optimism, we all came together. I met so many friends and made connections with people who I normally would never cross paths with, and we bonded together and we supported each other. And that was a thing of beauty. Good morning, Claudia. So these are all ways. It's the tragedy may happen, the unthinkable may happen, but then our role is what we choose to do with it. We have a choice to make. We have a choice to make and choose our attitude. Good morning, Ella. Nice to see you here. You know, then it becomes our choice. So how are we going to be in the meantime? We are on this quest for a loving relationship. But in the meantime, how are we going to treat the journey? Are we going to treat it as this horrible thing that we just want to get to the finish line that we may or may not ever get to? Or can we go in to every date, every conversation, every swiping with a sense of comedy, because there's a lot of comedy out there, a sense of optimism, and bring our own joy to it. Instead of saying, oh my God, I'm going out with this guy, I know it's going to be bad. And you know what? It may very well be bad. It may very well be bad, but it's okay because you tried, you took the chance, and that is a valiant effort, and that is a valuable thing. So can optimism sometimes be painful? Yes, of course, but it was going to be painful anyway. The pain is inevitable, but it's, do we drag out the pain? Do we anticipate the pain before it comes and make ourselves feel that pain more acutely? Or do we lift ourselves up by being hopeful? By being hopeful, we lift ourselves up, and in that moment, in the present moment, we can feel better. And look, in this case, it was an extreme tragedy. It's an outlier and anomaly. But in our everyday lives, how often do we go into something anticipating the worst and create misery for ourselves? Like, you have a date coming up, and you can say to yourself, oh my God, it's gonna be terrible. He's gonna reject me, he's not gonna like me, he's gonna be crazy. Or we can go in and say, you know what, I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna see what happens. And you know what, in the dating world, sometimes we read too much in as well. Like, we project 50 steps ahead before we even meet the poor guy. So my invitation to you is to relax, be hopeful, be optimistic, be excited about the journey, be excited about having love to look forward to, be excited about meeting your special person. But don't create the misery for yourself by looking 50 steps ahead and anticipating all the things that could go wrong. Or before you meet the guy, or after the second date, you're already planning your honeymoon and your children. Take a step back and take one step at a time. Be hopeful, be optimistic, but don't create too much of a story for yourself that then blinds you to what is in front of you. So go out on those dates, be excited, know that love is waiting for you on the other side, but stay in the present. Make the present today as joyful as you possibly can. Uplift yourself as much as you possibly can in the right now. Live with the hope, and when it does go wrong, if it does go wrong, because what if it doesn't go wrong? Very often it doesn't go wrong. At that point, you will deal with it. You will manage it, and you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Even those little children and her husband, they're going to find a way to be okay. Because as difficult as life is, sometimes it does keep going. It does keep going. And we need to keep going. And when we are in a place in our lives, which most of us are, that we have regular problems, not tragedy, not anomalies, nothing extreme, why can't we look and say, wow, I have the opportunity to be happy, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the opportunity. So let's look forward at the year ahead of us with optimism. Let's look forward to meeting new people. Let's look forward to making real connections. And when we are there, and when we go into something with that sense of optimism, it's much more likely to go well. It's much more likely to go well if you go in with that attitude. So our attitude is something that we have control over. But at the same time, be gentle with yourself. You have spent a lifetime relating to the world in a certain way. And if you want to change that, if you want to change that perspective, it's not going to happen immediately. It's going to be a process, and you're going to take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. And that's okay, because you're still 1 step ahead. And forgive yourself for the 2 steps back, and be grateful for the 1 step that you took ahead. So I hope that this was useful. I'm sorry if it was too much information. Thank you so much for your support. I really look forward to the live shows. I look forward to interacting with you throughout the week. I really and truly and deeply look forward to the time I spend with my clients, and I appreciate all of you. And I will not be here next week because I am going to be away with my daughter, but I will be back in 2 weeks live on Wednesday. But I'm available for messages, so message me, keep me in the loop. I always like to hear your thoughts and questions. So let me know, and I will see you in 2 weeks on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Have a lovely 2 weeks, and I will see you soon. Take care.